Nintendo Treehouse Live 83. We are here with Ali, Eric, and a very fun game, a very scary game.
Spoopy, too spoopy.
We're here to take a look at Fatal Flame,
way too
Maiden
spoopy.
of Black Water.
Yeah.
And we've actually dimmed the lights here on the Treehouse stage because, as we're going to see,
it's a little creepy.
Spoopy environment.
We should probably actually warn people that this segment might get a little graphic. You know, there's some depictions of blood and talk of suicide even.
Yeah,
it
it's
kinda dark.
definitely earns its rated M rating. So if you have impressionable young chillins around, then just be warned.
yeah, and Ali's going to sort of take us through this. For people who know or don't know the Fatal Frame series, go.
Yeah. So Fatal Frame, as we'll see in just a second, is this really awesome like ghost series that uses the camera obscura to basically defeat ghosts. And this is a new feature in Maiden of Black Water. It's this ghost hand where when you go to reach down and grab items, sometimes this ghost hand will come out and try to grab you and you'll lose health. And you are able to avoid it. You can kind of stop pressing the grab button, but you have to, like, it makes every item grab like, oh man, am I going to lose health? Do I have to
You never know when you reach down
away?
if this ghost is going to come and grab you.
Yeah. So even something as simple as like, oh, I found health on the ground is not as safe anymore. So now we're going to pick up something under the waterfall, which seems pretty normal. But what it is it's this basically like this purification flame, these purifying embers. And as we see, I went over this waterfall, and what happens in Maiden of Black Water is when you get rained on or when you go in like really big pools of water, you fill up what's called the wetness gauge, which is on the lower right hand of the this screen, and that lowers your defenses. And you can also get a status effect from certain ghosts that not only does that, but it also can affect your health, all kinds of things. So you want to stay dry. The water on what's called Mount Hikami, which is where we're at right now, is really, really dangerous. It's not normal water. So right now we're running through. And what I can do is I can use this psychometry like special ability that this character Yuri has to see kind of my objective. And you can see the shadow of someone that you're tracking, which can help you be led to like your objective or where you need to go. And you don't need to use it, but say that you're like really spooked out and you just want to get to where you want to go. That's a good way to do it.
Right, because otherwise there are sections where you're just like in a forest and you don't know exactly where you're going.
Yeah, like this forest right here can get really winding. And if you want to explore, that's great. But if you're like, I'm really scared, which is how I played the game the first time. All right, so now I'm showing off the camera obscura, which I just picked up. And what's really, really cool about the way that they do it in Maiden of Black Water is they treat the gamepad like it's your camera. So I'm actually looking at the gamepad as these ghosts. Oh, shoot, missed it. Oh, that's okay, I dodged.
So yeah, you picked up this camera and it's acting kind of as your weapon against these ghosts.
Yeah, this is pretty much the only way of defending. And I'm trying to get what's called the Fatal Frame, which is where the name comes from. And what you want to do is, as the ghosts attack you, that's when you really want to take their picture because you do the most damage. And I'm going to run this way and then buckle around.
Yeah,
so
you could basically take a picture of them the second they appear.
Right, like I can take pictures of her now.
Right, and you do a little bit of damage, but if you wait until that Fatal Frame, as it's called, that's when you're really going to start wrecking
So I'm going to lock on. And there are other things that are taken into account too, like sometimes they'll kind of like lose pieces of themselves, and you'll have to. All right, so let's see if I can run up to her quickly.
It's a cool mechanic though, by having to let the ghost get closer to you to do more damage. It also like really amps up the tension, especially when the gamepad is like right in your face. Like,
Because it seems like if you wait too long, obviously they're gonna actually hurt you.
Yep.
So, but you have to find that perfect time where.
So a lot of the ways, or a lot of the things that they put into the design of Fatal Frame games, including in Maiden of Black Water, basically kind of forces you to accept the scariness, right? Like, you want that item? Okay, well, you might get grabbed. You want to do the most damage and get done with this battle quicker? You have to wait until the ghost is like right up in your face attacking you. Yep. Oh, and so you could see, and we'll see it again in a minute, that I was actually, I was looking at the gamepad to, as my camera. So on the gamepad screen, I actually have a few different things that you're not seeing on the TV in my camera's view. And you can also use the gyro. So it's not required. You can actually switch to the sticks, but I've tried that and I actually prefer the gyro because it's kind of like I'm actually moving my camera. And it's just such a really cool immersive experience. You've got it right in front of your face and the ghosts are coming at you and you're turning to try to get more of the ghost in your frame, and it's awesome.
Yeah, the camera obscura has sort of been your weapon in all the Fatal Frame games. You always have that camera. And yeah, getting to really hold it in your hands is really neat.
So these are spirit photographs, and basically these are non-hostile ghosts. And they're only there for a few seconds, so if you miss their picture, they're gone. But it's a really good way to get more points. And those are added up at the end of each stage. And with the points that you accrue, you can do things like upgrade your camera. Yeah, she's pretty spooky.
Just another day.
And then we'll head into another battle. Can you tell that I've played this one a few times?
And obviously, you've played this section a number of times, so
I know that they're
what's
coming.
But sometimes you'll see those ghosts appear, and you'll miss them with that playthrough. So for the next playthrough, you'll be watching for them.
Yeah, and I mean these guys can probably attest to it. But when I first started playing,
I'm flinching here on stage.
I was screaming I was being really loud, and even once they told me I was screaming and told me to quiet down, so I'd put my headphones on, and I didn't realize that I'd be playing and a ghost would be attacking me, and I'd be going because I didn't want to scream and distract everyone, but noises were still coming out because I was really scared.
Yeah.
All right.
Also that scream when they attack.
Yeah. All right, I think I got her. Yeah. So what I'm doing right now is called a fatal glance. And usually you'll hop into a cutscene where you basically see basically that ghost's final moments. So you can kind of piece together more of the mystery by finding out how these people died on this mountain. So I'm using
and speaking
Shadow
of which,
Vision.
let's talk a little more about the story as far as why we're in the forest kind of searching for things.
So this is chapter 2 in the game, so it's actually pretty early. And what Yuri is doing here is someone came to her antique shop, this antique shop that she works at, and this person, Himino-san, Fuyuhi, she said, hey, my friend's been missing. She went to Mount Hikami. And Mount Hikami is actually based on the kind of real-life suicide forest in Japan.
Creepy.
And so, my friend went there, and she hasn't come back. And I know that the person you work with is really good at finding people, so can she help? And you're like, well, my friend's not here right now, but, oh, you're disappearing into the forest? That's not good. I'm going to follow you. So now there's 2 people in this haunted suicide forest. So right now I'm trying to find Fuyuhi, Himino-san.
So you're in a suicide forest, and there's this shack with a bunch of dolls?
Yeah. There's this doll shrine, and
they throw
I don't want
to.
I don't want to spoil too much, but if you're interested in going inside the doll shrine, you will not be disappointed. And if you're not interested in going inside the doll shrine, too bad. You have to go in there anyway.
Never go in there.
The kid ghosts are actually probably scarier to me than the dolls.
Yeah, that's
we'll see them a little bit later.
So casually, this is genuinely terrifying.
All right, so now we're still trying to find Fuyuhi. We'll track her this way. And there's lots of items on the ground that I'm passing up just so we can cruise through, but there are so many things to discover while you're playing. There's so many things to pick up. There's so many rooms that you don't have to go into that you can explore.
Well, and you know where you're going, but I also feel like I could easily get lost in this forest. It's
I have
no idea where you're going.
No, that's why I'm using the spirit or the psychometry. I don't know why we're laughing. We're so scared.
It's a very nervous laugh.
Yeah, it is a nervous laugh. No, I was using psychometry because I haven't played this in like a week, and this forest is huge. And like I said, there's so many places that you don't necessarily need to go. And so if you want to know exactly where to go, you need to.
So you just found the girl you were looking for. The reason why you came into the forest.
Yep. So she's looking a little not so good. That's her friend that she was looking for. So not to spoil too many things, but essentially what we're seeing is Himeno-san and her friend and their friends are going out to this body of water, this lake, to commit suicide. And what we find out is that Himeno-san and her friend somehow survived, but presumably their friends did not.
It's so creepy. And I can see people just getting really absorbed in this story. You know, it's really dark. It's very emotional.
Yeah, it's definitely, I mean, you know, there's kind of like the ghost elements, like, ooh, spooky.
Yeah.
You know, I'm scared of horror games. This is fun. But there's a lot of pretty heavy stuff, especially since we're on this mountain, we're in this forest that deals so heavily with suicide. And we find out later on in the game, without spoiling too much, that this was basically a place that for a long time people would come to die, to kill themselves. And even back when the shrines were in use, you know, we would, like the shrine maidens, the priestesses who were there would basically kind of help people, watch people commit suicide.
Wow.
Yeah.
And not even from just a story perspective. Oh, God.
Oh. These guys aren't supposed to be here.
Oh. I didn't realize they could grab you. That's crazy.
Oh boy. Okay.
So not only from a story perspective, it's true survival horror. You know,
yeah,
it's a true survival horror game because one, it's creepy as hell, but two, you need to conserve ammo. You have different type of film that you can put in your camera.
Yeah. So there are different types of film, and right now I'm using the Type 14, and that's kind of like the second most powerful film. There's also Type 7. Oh, I missed my shutter chance. Oh, let's back up. I don't want to play with you.
So, yeah, and you can see you're having to turn your camera into kind of like a portrait view.
Yep.
To like get more of the ghost in the frame to do more
so you can see kind of like those circles that appear in the ghost.
Right, and those are
so
kind
you want to get more of those in the frame.
Yeah.
All right, so let's head this way.
I mean, they did a really good job of making you feel like you're just lost in the woods.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, I play this all the time. We played for rehearsals, and I'm still like, I don't remember where I'm going.
Going everywhere.
Oh, here are everyone's favorite kind of ghosts. Kids. Their story is pretty sad.
Oh, my God.
They're also really hard to keep track of. I don't want to hug you. Yeah, the kids are hard to take down because they're not like, you know, they're not mean. They just
want to hug.
They just want a buddy. But they're really hard because they move really quickly and they're constantly moving.
Anytime you throw kids into a ghost game, like it just
they're like constantly running around in circles, and oh, here she comes. Oh, she's totally a goner. Kids don't have tons of health. Where'd they go? So those red triangles on the side of my screen when I'm turning. Oh,
you can kind of track where they are. He totally just wants a hug. Like
he really does just want a hug, which is kind of sad. All right. Come here. All right, she should be. Oh, she's tricky. There we go. All right. Quit messing around.
I don't think I took a breath that whole time.
Yeah.
I think it's like Koei Tecmo is so good. I mean, they've been working on this series. There's a lot of fans, and like they've just gotten so good, and they get better and better at those little quietly terrifying moments.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of really awesome ghost design in the game. There are some pretty spooky ladies.
It's a
Not to have any
special kind
spoilers.
of horror.
And pretty spooky
It's a special
dudes.
kind of horror and fear that they bring.
Yeah, yeah. It's. I mean, there are some ghosts that will like jump out at you, but really that's not where a lot of the horror comes from. A lot of the horror comes from as you kind of uncover this mystery of like where people have gone on this mountain, why they come here to commit suicide, why it's almost like people seem to be drawn here in order to commit suicide. Maybe they don't want to commit suicide. Like, for example, here's my friend who seemed to have gone missing, and it's her camera obscura that I found in the beginning of this chapter. And so that's where a lot of the horror comes from.
And they have this kind of water theme going throughout the whole thing. You can tell, like, you know, Maiden of
water
Black
is
Water,
a
why.
huge element of Maiden of Blackwater and of Mount Kukami. All right. So there are actually two playable protagonists, or sorry, three in the game. There's two ladies and one dude. And you get to kind of experience the story through each of their eyes.
Oh, wow.
And eventually they kind of converge, and then they kind of separate, and then they converge again. So it's a really cool kind of melding of three different people's experiences on this mountain.
And it's really cool how you piece together the story in Fatal Frame games. Like, the cutscenes give you a really deep insight into certain parts. You collect these little, you're finding these different elements spread around that help you sort of piece the whole thing together.
Yeah.
And you mentioned there are multiple protagonists, and there are also different costumes for the protagonists.
Yeah. There's lots of unlockable costumes. So, you know, if you're a fan of old Fatal Frame games and you're like, man, you know, are there stuff to find? There's so many things, not just with the items, but with the costumes as well.
Right.
So while we were picking up our necklace, Himino-san disappeared, and we found her singing by a pool.
Oh, God. So that's your friend that you came to find? That's your friend that you came to find in the forest?
Yeah. That's the one that you followed into the forest. But now she's gone. Was it a dream? Not quite a dream. So the first time I played this part, I completely lost it. And I was also still playing when there was Japanese text, so I was like, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do. How do I get out of here?
So cool.
Oh, gosh. Oh, gosh. So you can also press B to dodge attacks, which I don't think I did that in time, but that's okay. All right.
So you're waiting to get that fatal frame, waiting till she attacks.
Yeah. I'm trying to get closer to her to kind of goad her into attacking me.
Oops.
Oh, dear.
Oh, you missed.
She got me.
Ow. That hurt a lot.
All right. Quit messing around, Ellie. All right, so you can see that these head things are floating around. You want to get those in your frame as well so they don't rejoin with the ghost. All right, Shutter Chant is kind of like Fatal Frame. It does a lot of damage, but it's not necessarily when they're attacking. It's when kind of there's some other things that you need to fulfill, like maybe there needs to be a lot of things on screen, or there needs to be some kind of like action happening.
Gotcha. Oh, it's so creepy.
All right, where's she going? You can also target, so it's a little bit easier to keep track of them when you do that. Right now I'm targeting the knife. All right. Oh.
And obviously this is like a boss fight, so it's something that takes longer than, most fights.
Yep. So what's really cool too about the Fatal Frame is that when you wait for that and you keep pressing your shutter button, you can actually get more photos taken, because normally you have to wait for basically your film to reload between each picture. But when you're doing the Fatal Frame, just keep pressing, because you might get 3, 4, 5, 6 shots in.
And you can see you're getting points for all those different, like if you get a full body shot, you just got a Fatal Frame kill, which gives you even more bonus points.
Yep. So right
it's
now,
a score attack element.
Yep. So right now we're seeing, we're basically doing a fatal glance on Himino-san and seeing what really happened to her.
Oh. Wow.
So now we see we're introduced to some new characters.
So there we obviously just saw that, this is the Suicide Force, but that was a spirit that took control of her.
Yeah. So now we are unlocking even more of this mystery, or maybe opening up more questions, right? Like, if this is a Suicide Force where people kind of went when they wanted to commit suicide, why does it look like the ghosts on this mountain are forcing people to commit suicide?
Right.
So now it's going through a tutorial about the status effect that I mentioned earlier, where basically there's the wetness gauge, and that can be affected by things like rain, but you can also have a status effect by some ghosts, and they'll basically, it's something like black water. And okay, let's heal. And this black water, actually, I think I might be tainted right now, so let's use that. Pretty negatively affects you, so you'll start to lose health, lower defenses. So you want to heal that with those Sacred Embers, Purifying Flame. But those are not unlimited, so you can't just as soon as you fill up the wetness gauge, you can't just be like, oh, just use one of those. You only have so many, so you really need to be careful.
It's almost creepier too, playing on the gamepad, because you're basically looking through the camera's viewfinder on the gamepad. But it's so much closer to your face that when the ghosts jump out, it's like right in your face.
Yeah, because if you're just watching on the TV, you're like, oh, that ghost is 6 feet away from me. It can't get me. But when you're looking at the gamepad, you're like, this ghost is 6 inches from my face.
I keep looking at the TV and reacting and looking over at you, and you're doing all this crazy stuff.
Come here.
And the combat's actually really deep, because they're you need to kind of learn their patterns and what, her arm moves up, so you know that's when she's about to attack. So that's when you start taking pictures.
Yeah, and some ghosts, as you go along in the game, they get harder and harder to judge. She moves really quickly when she's about to attack like that. And it took me, I actually died quite a few times the first time I played this, and this is just chapter 2. Because she did move so quickly, and she's really the first kind of super hard enemy in the game, but they get harder.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow, that's intense.
Feeling pretty good about life?
I need to play with some puppies now or something.
Yeah. So now the only thing left is to escape Mount Hikami.
Yeah, and that's about all the time we have for that segment. I hope that Thank you, Allie, for taking us through that.
Yeah, thanks for being here and not for purposely scaring me like you do back at the office.
No, but I think that should give people a good idea of what Koei Tecmo is up to with this game. Obviously, a lot of really cool elements, especially using the gamepad as the camera obscura. Really cool cinematics and a story that is both creepy and scary in one sense, but then there's also way more than you think going on. You piece it together as you go. We saw that from some of those cutscenes. So that was a look at Fatal Frame Maiden of Black Water. Hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll be right back with Nintendo Treehouse Live at E3 with something else coming up next. Thanks, guys.